Her honor was ripped away, her hair cut off, her name forbidden, until a human restored her blade. They called her Ronin, not because she wanted the name, but because she had no right to another. Once, she had been General Kiravoff of the Erendai Legion, commander of 10,000, sworn defender of the Crystal Empire. Her banners had flown across the stars. Her victories were legend. Her sword, Soriai, burned with a light that marked her as chosen. Then came the defeat. One battle, one misjudged order, and everything she built collapsed in fire and dust. They called her a coward, a traitor. The Empress herself stripped Kira of her command. Before the court, they cut her hair short, shattered her sword, erased her name from the records. Go, the Empress had said coldly, live nameless among the wastes. You are no longer the Empire. And so Kira went. The wastelands were endless, frozen plains of iron and storm. The cold didn't bite anymore. It numbed. Each day she wandered, and each night she dreamed of the moment her blade broke in her hands, and with it her purpose. Honor was everything to her people. Without it, she was nothing. So when she saw the sky tear open one night, when fire streaked across the clouds and a star fell into the snow, she thought it was judgment come for her at last. But when she reached the crater, it wasn't a god that lay inside. It was a human. The ship was shattered. Metal bent and melted. Flames dying in the snow. The man lay half buried, his face pale, his breast shallow, his suit torn. Kira had never seen one up close. The humans were supposed to be fragile, reckless wanderers from the outer systems. Her people dismissed them as children playing with stars. And yet, this one had fallen from orbit and somehow still breathed. Against reason, Kira dragged him out and built a shelter in the hollow of an ice ridge. She nursed him for days, using the last of her supplies. When he finally opened his eyes, they were blue, pale and human and steady. "Who are you?" he rasped. She turned away. "No one." He smiled faintly. "Then you've got something in common with me." His name was Elias Thorne, a pilot from the Terran colonies, shot down during a border patrol. He asked about her, but she gave no answers. She spoke little, moved like a shadow, hunted with a spear of scavenged steel. When he called her Ronin, she didn't correct him. One night, he found her sitting by the fire, staring at the broken hilt of her sword. The metal was cracked, its energy core long dead. "That was yours?" he asked. She nodded. "Once. Looks like you've been through hell." "I deserved worse." He frowned. "You believe that?" "I know it." He leaned forward. "Then let me tell you something. Where I'm from, people mess up all the time. What matters is what you do after." Kira stared at him. "You talk like honor is a choice." "It is," he said. "You decide who you are every day." She wanted to scoff, but for the first time in years, she couldn't. When the storm season came, they were trapped together for weeks. Elias taught her old Terran songs. She taught him how to light a fire that could burn through alien winds. They built tools, traps, walls. And one night, when lightning cracked the sky, Elias said quietly, "You ever think of fixing it?" Kira looked at him. "The sword." He nodded. "I've seen things come back from worse." She almost laughed. "You can't fix what's bound to a name that no longer exists." He met her gaze evenly, then give it a new one. For days after that, he scavenged parts from his ruined ship. He melted circuits, fused alloys, reshaped energy cores. Kira watched in silence, not daring to hope. When he finally handed the hilt to her, it looked the same, but different, rougher, human-made. "Try it," he said. She hesitated. Her heart beat fast. She pressed her thumb to the core, where once her name had been etched in light. The sword flared to life. Not blue as before, but white, burning pure, humming like a heartbeat. Kira stared, trembling. How? Elias smiled. Doesn't care about the old code anymore. It listens to you. Her breath caught. It shouldn't be possible. He shrugged. Neither was surviving that crash. They stood together at the edge of the storm that night, the blade gleaming between them. It doesn't have the mark of your empire, Elias said. It doesn't need one. What will you call it? She looked at him, the human who had crossed stars and death itself to bring her something greater than her past. Sorry, she whispered again. But this time, it means reborn. Their peace didn't last. A patrol ship appeared weeks later. Imperial scouts sweeping the wasteland for deserters and trespassers. Kira and Elias were discovered. When the soldiers saw her face, they sneered. Ronin, their captain said, we thought you'd frozen to death. Elias stepped forward. We don't want trouble. But trouble had already come. The captain laughed. You protect a human now? How far you've fallen? He drew his blade. End this disgrace. Kira's hand found her sword before she could think. The blade came alive, white fire roaring in the blizzard. The captain froze. That's impossible. Your weapon was destroyed. Kira raised her chin. You destroyed my name, not my honor. The battle was quick. When it was done, the snow was red, and the human stood at her side, steady as ever. When they reached the ridge again, Elias said softly, You didn't have to fight for me. Kira smiled faintly. You didn't have to save me. He shrugged. Guess that makes us even. She looked down at her restored blade, the human's reflection shining faintly in its edge. For the first time in years, she felt light. Elias, she said quietly, in my language, there's a word for what you've done. What's that? Honor. Weeks later, travelers spoke of a warrior and a human roaming the border worlds, a woman with short silver hair and a sword of white fire, bearing no sigil of any empire. They called her Kira of Two Worlds, the one who had lost everything, until a human restored her blade.